Welcome to Breaker 19 with Sean Bailey, where the stories hit hard, the laughter hits harder, and the guest list is always a surprise. Hang on, this ride's just getting started.
Hey, good evening, folks. I am Sean Bailey, and this is Breaker 19. Tonight, we have ourselves a high-flying, metal-twisting, crowd-roaring special guest. This man has put more cars in the air than most folks put miles on their own. You could even call it air miles. Leader of the Northeast Ohio Dukes, stunt driver, car jumper, and pilot of the General Lee, Raymond Kohn is going to be joining us tonight, and he'll be here right after this.
Get ready. It's time to visit Branson Auto and Farm Museum in Branson, Missouri, featuring cars, trucks, tractors, wagons, motorcycles, and fire trucks, including the Dukes of Hazzard General Lee and Hazzard Sheriff car, Ghostbusters Ecto-1, and the eastbound and down cars on display when not on tour. Branson Auto and Farm Museum, 2 acres, all indoors. Open daily 9 to 6 p.m., closed Christmas Day. Branson Auto and Farm Museum, 1335 West Highway 76 Country Boulevard, Branson, Missouri. Follow us on Facebook.
And here we are. We are back, broadcasting live from Branson, Missouri, and I have none other than the guy that sets that orange clunker car high in the air. Raymond, it is amazing to see you here with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Sean. We've been friends for a long time, and I'm
Yes.
honored that you wanted me to be on your show.
You know, we do Eastbound and Down and the Dukes of Hazzard, and the worlds come together. You know, Smokey and the Bandit and Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does. I don't think the Dukes of Hazzard could have survived without Smokey and the Bandit. And you have to think that a couple of the main cast members from the Dukes was on Smokey and the Bandit.
Right.
So, yeah.
So it's just again, it just goes hand in hand, and even in the first episode of
And you
Dukes
have
of Hazzard,
Bo,
they mentioned,
Cletus,
yeah,
a Basset Hound.
right.
A badass muscle car being chased by the crazy sheriff.
I was waiting to see where you're
He
going
looks
there.
just like you. Looks just like you.
So Raymond, I mean, Dukes of Hazzard is, I mean, as long as I have known you, it's Dukes of Hazzard, man. Uh, what got you started in it? You know, was it the TV show growing up
Yeah, it
watching
was the
Dukes of
TV
Hazzard?
show. So I was born November 10th, 1977. The very first generally jumped November 11th, 2000, or not 2000, 1978, a year and a day after I was born. And
Right.
the show came out in January of 79, and that's all I could remember watching growing up. My uncle Carl, he had got me a Dukes of Hazzard dinner plate set, and I would watch it religiously. And I was way too young for Daisy, but I thought the car was the coolest thing I ever seen.
Right.
And I never thought in a million years that I'd be jumping it, but the iconic movies and TV shows that we have watched growing up in the 70s and 80s, well, they're starting to disappear. They're under attack by political correctness, but it's up to guys like me and guys like you to keep, that show alive. And we're the last stand of it disappearing, guys like you and me.
I agree with you 100% there. I mean, it takes a special person to be able to go out and do what's being done. I mean, you look at the shows that Eastbound and Down does. We're not launching the cars into the air, but man, that takes something huge right there, and it's just amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
like you and Tim and everybody else, you guys have devoted your lives to help, carry on the Smokey and the Bandit. And me and my guys, we feel the same way about the Dukes, Knight Rider, Smoking the Bandit. You know, we feel about that way for all of them.
right.
And if we don't keep doing what we're doing, you and I and other people like us, they're going to be lost to the ages. If
That's
we
right.
could ever honor Burt Reynolds and Denver Pyle and all the stunt drivers, Hal Needham and all those guys, I mean, this is how we honor them,
Yeah,
by doing what we do.
right. So, what was your first moment that you knew that stunt driving, especially jumping an orange charger, was in your blood? When was that first hint of it?
So MTV in 2005 got a hold of me. They were doing a little promo for MTV's Your Movie show down Oxford College, Covington, Georgia. And they were doing this little thing to kick off that crappy movie that nobody
Right.
likes.
Yeah.
And Corey was going to jump at Oxford College, Shaney Hall, where the first General Lee jumped. Well, they had asked me if they could use my cop car for Corey to jump over. And I was up close and personal to all of that. And that's when I got bit by what we call the stunt bug or the jump bug. I knew when I seen Corey that close, I've seen Corey jump before, but I was so close. I was like, I'd love to do this one day. And 2 years later, I was in that car for the first time, August 31st, 2007. Thought I was going to do it one time, Sean. And next thing you know, 31 jumps later, 17 years later, we've went to Canada and did the first international generally jump. Now these people up in Canada, they thought we were going to just do this little ramp to ramp ordeal. Ooh, I hit the ramp at 65 miles an hour and the car flew up almost 30 feet high and I landed at 180 feet long, flat, pancake. Boy, it
That's
hurt.
that is this video here. And if we can take just a moment, let me play this for our fans that are watching right now. And this is that jump that you were talking about, right?
Crazy.
Okay, for me, watching that jump, and it's got to be the music as well, but that gave me Carnival of Thrills vibes. Just pure Carnival of Thrills, even without the cars to jump over. But it was Carnival of Thrills to me because seeing the behind the scenes photos of that car as it landed and the radiator burst, I mean, it's got the vibe to it. How
Yeah, there
amazing.
was a guy who actually did a hand painting of a picture with the car as it just landed and the fluid is coming out of the radiator and stuff. Joe Savio and the Radical Speed Sport team, they really took good care of us up there. I'm telling you, they're probably the best people we've ever worked with. And I have a feeling we'll be back there in the future. But one day I would honestly love to jump to generally over probably 40 cars because I'm going to break that Carnival of Thrills record.
We have somebody asking, but not jumping actual 69 Chargers, correct?
Now,
So
in the
let's touch
early
on that.
days, yes, in the early days, we had used regular Chargers, but these were the Chargers that sat for dead, and all their good parts had been harvested for other cars that had a better chance to be restored. These were the parts cars that nobody wanted. Somebody cut the roofs off and stuff. We used the same 440 for 24 jumps. Cars or the engine still runs today. Um, but now those cars that used to be either donated to us or we'd pay like $400 or $500 for them. Well, they're $15,000 now.
Right.
So, so we do the Crown Vic conversion and stuff like that,
Right.
and it looks good. It looks good. People still can't believe that they're a Grand Marquis or a Ford Crown Victoria. It
Yeah.
fools everybody.
You know,
With Auto Metal, we couldn't do it without Auto Metal Direct.
there you
AMD,
go.
they're our supplier of Dodge Charger body panels, and it's because of them we could build the car. Listen, nobody wants to see a four-door Crown Victoria
Yeah.
with orange paint job jumping. They want to see what they seen on TV, and because of Auto Metal Direct, we can do that.
And that right there, I mean, when you're looking at a Charger and you're looking at a conversion from the Ford, it's something, unless you actually know what you're looking for to be able to tell the difference. I mean, you guys do an amazing job, and you've got okay. I see two General Lees behind you. What are we looking at there in the background?
Okay, I'm going to turn the computer real quick. Okay, but before I do, this is the Nightmare Charger owned by Jim. Okay, this one's pretty much done, ready to go. My personal Generally that we stripped out is right there, and I just haven't had time to work on it. And if we turn it this way, you'll see Jason's Generally, and then right there's another Charger. That's my 70. Now my brother and my cousin and one of our good family friends over there working on my radiant floor heat because we still don't have heat here at the new shop. So,
So
and then we got
let's just
Jeep in the background too.
yeah, and I do see a light bar back there as well.
Oh, that's Roscoe, you dipstick.
It's the thing. I find light bars all the time just because they remind me of something. So
Yeah, well, you can't even see the light bars today. You can't even see the cops coming at you today.
right.
You- Those, what they used to call them, the gumballs or something like
Yeah, bubble gums. Yeah.
that.
So who is your biggest stunt inspiration? TV, movie? Who would it be?
Yeah. The first, the first one comes to mind is Corey Eubanks. Second be Al Wyatt. Alan passed away. I want to say in 2015. There's Ted Barber, Jumpin' John Cade. Those are probably the big ones who really inspired me
Right.
uh, to do what I'm doing. And I heard a stunt guy once say that the best way to learn to do stunts is by stunt people. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I didn't have the luxury of that, Sean.
Right.
We are all self-taught. We had to teach ourselves how to do this. And looking back at the early days, when I was like 27, 28 years old doing this, I said, what the heck was I thinking? You know, what was I thinking of doing the jumps the way we used to do? Now we have the jumps and the turnovers dialed in so good. I mean, there's always the risk of us getting hurt, but I'm so far off of that seat. I can take those hard landings like the one that you've seen, in Canada and come out okay. Yeah, I was banged up and stuff, but nothing really serious,
Right.
you know. But it was those guys who figured all that out, back in the day. Corey was telling me, when they were trying to figure out how to take the compression out of your back, he says one time that they had taken a bunch of water bottles and emptied them, put the caps back on them, and they would sit on water bottles, empty water bottles. I mean, it was just a big experiment, and they were their own guinea pigs. They were their own crash test dummies back then.
Right. Right. And the cushioning of the landing. I mean, that's what's hurt a lot of stunt people over the years, and in the movies and TV as well. I
Right
mean,
now, we get people all the time. Why don't you guys build a stadium truck and put a General Lee body on it? Nobody wants to see that.
no,
Human
no,
beings, they want to see a car jump and they want to see it crash and land and stuff. I mean, that's how they don't want to see it keep going and repeat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Besides, you'd never make it look like what you see on TV. It would always have the suspension drop in it, that would be what,
Yeah.
32 inches or something like that, it
Right.
would be completely crazy. Um,
I'm with you. It takes away that whole effect.
well, let me tell you something that Corey had told me. Corey told me, he says, Raymond, the reason why I love what you do and I respect what you do so much is because you do your stunts in the tradition, in the spirit of how we did it on the show.
Exactly.
So that right there was a huge compliment. Sometimes
It
when
is.
Corey tells me things like that, I don't even know how to respond, because
No, you absorb that in. I mean, he's Corey Eubanks, you know.
Corey Eubanks, yeah. Yeah, the guy who was on Transformers and all the Fast Five movies and all those Hollywood blockbusters. I mean, he calls me, we talk and stuff. I mean, it's, and I'm just a nobody,
You've said before that your greatest skill is jumping. What makes it special to you compared to, say, any other type of stunts, of a slide stunt or a two-wheel stunt or a rollover, a pipe rollover?
Well, just think we love the General Lee because it jumped. If you took the General Lee, the jump out of the General Lee, wouldn't be really that cool, would it?
Right.
So that's why I have like this attraction to it. I can't explain it. Addiction. I'm
Yeah.
addicted to jump the General Lee, and uh, I know that the sun will set on my time. When I have to retire and stuff, and so I have to look, toward possibly my daughter taking over for me or my grandson. He's only 2, but I got a good 10 years of, or maybe
Nice.
15 years of jumping. I'm still in good shape and I'm healthy and stuff. But yeah, did you see Pat had a comment?
I
Sean
did.
Bailey, the great
I
one.
did. There he is. And away
That's
we
awesome.
go. Walk us through what goes through your mind in the seconds before a jump.
So many things go through my mind. It's just unbelievable how many things that you can think of in this short amount of time. And I feel that the longer the runway to the ramp is, the harder it is. I just want to put my foot down to the pedal and go and hurry up and get it over with. Like when I'm at the Montparnasse at the drag strip, National Trails, it's a quarter mile. That's a
Oh, wow.
lot to think about, a lot to think about. And just like the short ones where I just from this point to this point, I'm going to hit it. I can get up 65 miles an hour and that's it. Um, because you're more focused on speed and hitting the ramp square, not too much time to think about stuff.
Right.
But uh, it's amazing how lonely it is in the cars, how how deathly quiet it is in the cars. It's like you're on a planet all by yourself.
Right.
And as noisy as the car is, because it's rattling, you have open headers and stuff like that. It's just so quiet. And I get so scared and I'm like, guys, this is the last one. I'm like, Pat, this is it. This is the last one, Bender, he's there at the window holding my hand to the very end, and you know, uh, I'm like, this is it, the last one. And as soon as I land, I'm like, I want to do it again. And that's the addiction part.
That's the audio that was caught at the end of the Somerset jump.
Yeah, you heard that, didn't you?
I did,
That
and we've got that for the for everybody watching, joining us tonight. We will play that video here as well shortly.
yeah,
But
so there's a story about that. The past 3 General Lee jumps that I did before the fountain jump, we call it uh the Canadian curse
oh,
because I started landing flat in Canada. Then I landed at the big record, the 217-foot long jump, Montparnasse flat. That one really hurt. Took me out for 4 months. I was so sore. And then 3 weeks before the fountain jump, we had another flat landing. It separated my rib cage, and so we had 3 flat landings in a row. And my daughter says, "Dad," she's like, "Dad, you don't say it anymore." I'm like, "Tiffany, what are you talking about? What do you mean I don't say what? Say what?" She says, "You know what you say when you land." I'm like, "What do I say when I land?" She says, "That you want to do it again." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're right. You're right. I don't say that anymore, but I said it after the fountain jump."
You're set. You're back in that good role again.
Yeah, yeah. It was funny. Chris Roy, he's our Canadian crew, who I'm sure you'll meet too.
Yeah.
Chris was the one at. Now he's from Canada. He was the one waving the green flag that I was okay. So we thought that was special. That it started in Canada and it ended with the Canadian guy waving the green flag.
That's awesome. Michael Davidson asked, how hard is it to keep the car going straight once you land and to be focused?
Yeah, you can't. Usually what happens is when you land, the suspension, the center link, the tie rod ends, everything gets smashed up right underneath the engine cradle. And however the wheels are when you land, they're gonna get smashed up there, and you can't control it. You're just along for the ride.
You're along for the
I
ride.
and
Yeah.
and and in Somerset, when I landed and I swerved into that wall, I seen our producer Mike. He was there, and he had his very expensive camera. I think he had a red camera on him. Um, and Mike was right in my way, and I couldn't do anything. I was like, "Mike, move, 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 move!" And he chose that spot there because there was an opening in the Jersey barriers. They all plan a bailout zone in case there's an instance where I'm headed toward him, and thank God he did that because he got out of the way in the nick of time.
And was able to capture some amazing footage right there.
Yeah, yeah, he got some really great footage.
Another question, how long does it take to prep a car? And let's say that it's the Crown Vic, the Ford product, from start to finish.
Comfortably a month.
That's
We
not bad.
have No, it's not. We can have a car stripped down in one day. So me, Tyler, Pat, Bender, Jim, Rob, I got a really great team who love the Dukes of Hazzard as much as me, right? So we all get together and we strip out these cars in one day, and within a month, we'll have it ready to go.
That's
We have a lot of
amazing.
fun doing it too. A
Oh, I
lot of
bet. And how many Fords have you built?
We have built, I want to say 6 or 7 Ford, that none of them have been Fords. They've all been Mercury Grand
Okay.
Marquis.
Okay.
Um, so we built like 6, I think 6 of them, possibly.
So each one you're able to find out ways to make it better. Everything fits together a certain way with the body panels that you get from AMD.
Yeah, so Tyler Long, who is one of our lead guys, Tyler, he does the bad guy, and once in a while when Mikey can't, the cop car turnover. So Tyler's a fabricator, he's a stunt driver. He sets up a lot of the shows and whatnot. Tyler made a jig that bolts to the B pillar on a Grand Marquis. And once we bolt this jig on, it lines up the fender and it lines up the quarter panel, and we just basically make our mounts and weld them in.
That's amazing. That makes it where the process time from start to
Yeah,
finish
so
will go a little quicker.
Charger is 117 inches wheelbase, right? From wheel to
Right.
wheel. These Crown Vics are usually like 115.3. Now we don't like chop the frame and extend it out or anything. We center the wheel in the rear with the quarter panel, and then that just means the front of the rear, or the rear of the front tire, sits a little bit closer to the fender, just a little bit. On our cars, the only way you can really tell that it's not a real Charger is the steering wheel, the dash. We make it look like a Mopar dash and whatnot.
How does the car stay level in the air? Andy is asking.
Well, that has a. It's just not weight. It's just not weight. That has a lot to do with rear springs. How did an old lady who took care of her car have the car and it was a well maintained car versus a young punk who drove the car through, you know, really terrible conditions and didn't keep up on it and whatnot. Those weaker springs can change, the outcome of the landing, and the
Oh, yeah,
car uh,
absolutely.
shocks as well. Um, we did experiment with, more weight, and then when we backed off, we were still landing flat. So we narrowed it down into shock displacement and weaker springs. See, we use a compression ramp. It's the same ramp that they had on the Dukes, where you hit it so fast, the car compresses up against the ramp. And when the springs compress, when they decompress, the car gets its lift. So it's like hitting a giant wedge, and you got to have a good rebound. The shocks can't slow that rebound down. You don't want that.
Right.
So there's some technical things that we have to do for that.
So it goes from either a nose landing to a
Which
flat
is better
landing,
for us,
right?
which is better for me.
Then you go for the flat landing, which that's painful,
Yeah,
and
that's either a trip to the hospital or me being busted up pretty good for the next few months.
then a tail landing. Not only does the impact from the tail landing, but then the front is going to come down. So it's like a double hit there, right?
I would rather have a tail landing than a flat landing.
Yeah.
The theory is that we have, and this is experience talking, the more the car tumbles and crunches up, the easier it is on the driver. When you land flat, boom, one, all of that energy is transferred to the driver. When you go boom, boom, or boom, boom, I mean, that's two impacts where the car absorbs the impact. There's
Right.
a lot of science and stuff into it.
There
Let me
is.
tell you, Bo and Luke, after the jump, they weren't going to get too far.
Jumping the generally is a huge responsibility for any stunt driver. I mean, you go back to the stunt drivers through the series to what you're doing now. What does the generally personally mean to you and being able to jump it?
It's an honor. It's an honor, and if we could keep the car flying to honor those who risked it all back in the day, because there wasn't no awards for them, you know. They jump to General Lee, they get their back broken or leg broken or something broken. They got nothing for it, no recognition at all. And if I could jump the General Lee in my lifetime and stand in front of the crowd, stand in front of the cameras and say, we do this to honor the stuntmen and stunt women from the Dukes of Hazzard, then I feel like I've done my job.
And being able to give it to the fans.
And give it, yeah, there's not a better feeling when a little 5-year-old kid comes up and says, "Can you sign my picture?" I love that. That's why we do it. We're I can't even believe how many young kids were at the fountain jump, and that they were coming up and they know about the Dukes of Hazzard. There's people there in their 50s and 40s. They brought their kids there. They had no idea what the Dukes was. But after the jump, they went home and they ordered their DVDs,
Yep.
and they got now they're Dukes of Hazzard fans.
Right.
And I love being a part of that.
It is. It just the thought there of a child coming up and being so excited. We experience that with Eastbound
You
and
know,
Down.
you know that feeling, isn't it
It,
great, Sean?
it is
Yeah.
amazing, and when you find out that Smokey and the Bandit is their favorite movie, and they sing the theme song, and same thing with Dukes of Hazzard, and being early years, I had a General Lee, and I know what it was like to just be able to drive by or show up at a child's birthday with that orange car. It was just not only amazing for me, but the smile on their face. It stayed with me all these years. So
Makes it all
yeah, I know exactly.
worthwhile. You know, all of the ass kickings that I've taken, all the beatings that I've taken, it's worth it. You know, everyone gets to see the generally jump, and I'm sure it's really cool for them. I don't get to see it from their perspective. I have to wait till the videos. You know, usually when I get out and I hug my family and my crew and I say a few things to the cameras and stuff like that, people's like, hey, look at my video, you know, and I'm like, awesome, I can't believe that was me in there.
Joe Hudson. Joe's an amazing friend of ours. It's like driving a circus around, and that's the truth.
Yeah, I tell you what, when we're in the generally every red light, every fuel stop, you get a lot of attention.
Oh yeah,
And it's always good there. I've never not had not one negative comment ever, you
yeah,
know. And it's such a great thing, you know, all the Smoking the Bandit, Knight Rider, and the Dukes, they were family TV shows where you could put that on your TV and leave your kids in there knowing that they're not going to see something that they shouldn't. You know,
right.
you don't have to worry about any kind of language or nudity or real violence out there, you know.
You've not only jumped a General E, but you've jumped a Trans Am in tribute to Burt Reynolds. That was at what, the
Yeah.
GM Nationals?
Yeah, that was at the Chevy Nationals at Carlisle
Yeah.
2019. And oh my gosh, Sean, I was so scared. This was the first time that I was going to jump a non Dodge Charger, you know. So we followed the same protocol as the Charger, but we had to change some different things. And then when we got there, we found out that we were jumping downhill and the car wasn't weighted for that.
Oh
The
no.
longer the car is in the air, the more time it's going to give for it to nosedive, you know. And so we went to Home Depot and got some extra concrete just so we wouldn't go that nose heavy. Thank God, because it was a little on the extreme, but hey, I got out and I was okay.
Right.
And that car, BG Addis donated that car for that specific purpose. And man, the car was just rotted beyond belief. He bought it to restore it. And then when he started looking at it, it was just too far gone. So he was like, Brand, I'm going to let you have this car to jump it, but just give it back to me when you're done with it.
I got to see that car in person in what was that, 2019?
Yeah,
Um,
Pennsylvania, I believe.
yeah,
Me and Jimmy and you and
yeah,
Tim and your wife. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
that was awesome. Let's talk about the people that helped make the entire Northeast Ohio Dukes uh, go.
Yeah, so I'm just the idiot behind the wheel doing the jumps, and that's the easy part. I'd like to say there's a whole team of people that are involved, and they do it because they love the Smoking the Bandit, they love Knight Rider, they love the Dukes, and I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah,
So even though I'm the only one physically in the car, I got my family in there with me. I have my whole crew
yeah,
in there with me. And when I say this, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. My crew, they're like my family. We've laughed together, we've cried together, we've bled together, you know, and Pat Skirty, Rob Rousey, Bender, Jim and Jason and Mikey, Johnny, he does those awesome explosions for me when I'm in the air. Just everybody comes together. And it's not like they get paid much, because it really doesn't pay all that well because we're doing this for a hobby, for the love of it. Um, so so if it's not for the money, it has to be for the love,
absolutely.
and that's why they do this year after year after year. And now they're like, when do we get to start on the next one? when
Right.
when do we get to start on the next one? So I just have a great fantastic group of guys that have went beyond what they were ever expected to do, all because they love what we do.
Right. I
They
mean,
truly are my brothers. They really are.
that's
Now, we sometimes, we all don't get along like
right.
brothers,
Yeah, that
and stuff.
happens.
As long as they agree in the very end that I was right, that's what matters.
Wait, you guys
And
are
look
getting
at
paid?
Matt Miller. Matt Miller. Now you got to understand Matt. So Matt, he's the one who takes all of those iconic pictures of me jumping the General Lee from the very, very, very beginning. Now, so in the beginning, 2007, there was Matt Miller, our photographer and graphics designer, and then there was Rob Roushey. So two of my original guys, who Rob has been my best friend for 31 years, they have been there from even before the jump started in 2007. And it's like I'm like, I tell Matt, let me tell you this little story. My fourth jump, I landed like this, it flipped over and I rolled. I rolled, right? Could have been killed. I don't know how I wasn't killed. But the reason why that jump even happened, because Matt calls me at 2 o'clock in the morning. He was like, Ray, because I was on the fence. I didn't want to do the jump, and he was like, Ray, you got to do the jump. You just got to do it. It doesn't matter if they're paying us or they're not paying us. You got to do the jump. So he calls me at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, Matt, go back to bed. So he talked me into that one. And then I landed like that. And I rolled over. But some of the guys, they get me into situations like Pat Skirty, your buddy Pat.
Yeah.
That's got me into some situations too.
There he is, right there. For the money, for the glory, and for the fun. Mostly for the money.
We have so much fun. I'm telling you, you shouldn't be allowed to have the amount of fun that we have, and
Right?
everybody knows their job. They don't have to be told, you know, what to do. I mean, we've been doing this for so long, it's like second nature to everybody. Still, we don't want to get so comfortable to where we're gonna make mistakes and stuff like
Right.
that. Where,
Right.
you know, and I've always told this to my other stunt drivers. I want you to be scared. It's okay to be afraid. The fear is what keeps you safe, because you're going to make sure that, yeah, my belts are tight and the welds for the roll cage are good and stuff like that. Fear is probably the best safety equipment that you can have when it
Right.
comes. The day you're not scared anymore is the day you need to quit doing stunts.
Yeah. Hang up the helmet, huh?
That's right.
What is something that fans never see but would be shocked to learn about preparing for a show?
Oh, what would they be shocked to see? I don't want to say corners that we cut, because we don't cut any
Right.
corners when it comes to safety. I don't know, maybe how the cars are just built, thinking that they're, you know, because we get a lot of people who want us to build these cars to drive around, and they're just not safe for that.
Right.
They're safe to do a jump, but they're probably surprised that they're safe enough to jump, but they're not safe enough to drive on the road,
Right.
you know. But you have to look at what the car is set up to do versus a car hitting it, T-bone in it, and there's no interior. I'm surrounded by bars and stuff like that. And the safety gear, a lot of things people don't realize. And when they learn, they're like, really? I'm not even sitting on the seat. I'm hanging from the top of the ceiling with bungee cords. And I'm this far off of the seat, because if I land flat, my butt would be on that seat and my back will compress and it would blow out my
Yeah.
vertebrae and all of my disc. So when they see me in there and I'm like up real high, and they have no idea that you want to know how hard it is to hit the gas pedal when your butt's not sitting on something? It's hard,
Oh, yeah.
and so I think that a lot of them are surprised that I'm not sitting on the seat.
Not being comfortable, not out for that Sunday drive.
It's not a comfortable thing They put me in the jump vest so tight that you can't even breathe. You're limited on your how much air you take in, how much air you expel. And if you're in there long, you're gonna start feeling lightheaded and stuff like that. That's why I hate, like, when I'm in the car and I'm ready to go, they're setting up the cameras. They're they're not rolling yet. You gotta wait for the cameras. And oh my gosh, I'm like, when Pat or Rob leaves or Tyler leaves to go down there to be on the landing zone, I'm like, please guys, don't let me sit in here long because you're so nervous and you're hot and you're sweaty and I'm going like glug with ice water. And I just want to get it over with. You just, the anticipation itself will, it plays with you.
Do you have one stunt that you still want to do? Something that would be like the white whale?
Yes, I want to replicate the Carnival of Thrills jump, and I want to go over 40 cars.
Right.
That would be epic. And then Eric Sweeney. Now Eric is a Hollywood stunt guy. We had him out at the fountain jump. We even gave him a stunt crew shirt. And Eric, he has the Dukes of Hazzard filming locations on YouTube and Facebook because he lives out there. And he just went to Styx River, the Indian Dunes site where the Generally Jump kit jumped there, as well. And I think it would be super badass if we replicated that jump.
Oh, I agree. That would be awesome. Justin DeRosa is going to be our guest next week, and Justin is a stunt guy. He's been in the movies, and he's got some association there with the Dukes and Fall Guy and Knight Rider and A Team and you name it. And
I had no idea who Justin was, and I just started noticing some likes on some of our jump videos and whatnot. And then he started commenting, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's a Hollywood stunt driver. And here comes all these compliments, and I'm really not worthy of the compliments that these Hollywood guys give me. I'm just trying to honor what they did, and but they think that what we do at the NEOD is pretty cool.
yeah,
They love it, and I'm happy that we've worked so hard to where we're actually able to turn the heads of the guys who started it all. It means a lot to me. It really does.
yeah, that gives you the moment of you're doing something right.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you what, if we probably did over 170 death-defying stunts, and nobody's been seriously hurt or killed, and that is a huge, huge accomplishment.
It is. It absolutely is. Let's go back to the jump, Detroit in 17. What was the distance on that one?
Well, first off, before we talk about the Detroit Autorama, I would like to let you all know that we just lost Pete Tundas. Pete, he was the owner of Championship Auto Shows, the owner of the World of Wheels, the owner of the Autoramas and stuff. He just passed away last week of cancer. And Pete is the one who hired us to come in. I'm sure you guys know who he is, but Pete passed away. And so I just wanted to bring some acknowledgement to that we lost Pete. But so it was my 20th jump at the Detroit Autorama. Very scary situation. Another first. This was landing on pavement for the first time. And that there was scary in itself because I always had a ground landing, dirt landing. And man, it was a lot easier. I don't know. I was like, why was I so scared? You know, this was a lot easier than landing in the dirt or on the ground, so to speak. And the reason is, remember those big old yard darts that we used to play with when we were kids?
Right.
If you would take one of those and you launched it out onto like a concrete surface or an asphalt parking lot, it would just scrape off and skid. And if you threw that up, into a yard, it would stick, you
Right.
know. and that sticking, would cause compression and no movement, right? There was no scrape off. It would dig in. When you would do that on a asphalt pavement, it would scrape off and skid, and that's sort of what, jumping a car is like. It's a lot easier to land on concrete in the asphalt than it is dirt.
What was the distance on that one?
134. Pat is my record keeper for that.
Numbers guru.
Yeah, I think 134 feet was the and at that time that was my furthest jump.
Wow. And how high was that? Because I know you come down through on the street, but there is a building that
Yeah,
overlooks the jump.
yeah, I was about 21 feet high in the air, I believe.
Wow.
21, 22 feet high at the
That's
apex
amazing.
of the jump. I was as high though that I was like going past, and there were people in the window,
Waving at
taking
you. There he goes. There's that
Detroit was
stunt
a
guy.
Detroit was a blast.
It was. It looked amazing. The July jump this year in Somerset, there was a lot of spectators. I mean, a lot of spectators.
42,000.
That is the biggest event that they've had for that show. Any show there in Kentucky, if you go that route.
Yeah, it was the largest public gathering in the history of Pulaski County, and I'm honored to be a part of it because it's such a big deal to them, and it's such a big deal to me and my crew. I'm like, if they would allow, me to be buried there, when it's my time, buried at the fountain, big old statue of me with the generally jumping. You can, put a nice couple hundred words about me on a big old piece of marble. This is where it happened.
So you jumped the fountain. Were you looking for the windshield wipers? Because I know there was
So,
water in the windshield.
so when I first seen the fountain, I knew that it would be more epic if I busted through the top. In fact, when we went there in April, uh, I had told Pat and Tyler, I said, I want to go through the top. I want to go through the top, and I want that slow motion shot of the push bar breaking through the water and the grill comes through there. I wanted that shot. And so we had to take the weight, the angle of the ramp. There was a downward like keel, sort of, so to speak, before the ramp. We had to land on the street, not like where the buildings were, because that would be, no one would have seen the landing.
Right.
And I was like 6 inches off of our mark. That's how close we were. We figured 50 miles an hour. Ted Barber was like, Raymond, you're gonna scrub off a lot of speed if you go 45. Hit it at 50. So I hit it at 50, and I landed exactly where I needed to land. And we didn't know if the car was gonna sort of like preload in a funny way, because that little downward,
Right.
dip that was right before the ramp. But it went perfect. I seen the blue water for a split second, and
You knew you were there.
yeah, man, it was epic, man. And the car landed nose first, and it was an easy landing for me. I'm usually used to doing this in a where the fans are away, they're up in the stands, but everybody was so tight,
Yeah.
and so I was worried about it, because we live in a world where mental health isn't so stable anymore. You didn't know if somebody was, hey, I want to do a suicide by General Lee, and run in front of the car on my way to the ramp. But what was that? You know, um, so what was
You
that? I didn't even hit the ramp yet. Um,
you did
but
have a guy, and it looks like maybe a child or a shorter person. We'll go that route. That was on a balcony of where you landed and stopped, and it was like they had an amazing view right there.
they had the rooftops were covered with people. I don't even know how they got up there. But there, when I reviewed the videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's people everywhere. This has to be the most historic generally jump of all time. Um, Corey was like, that was the jump that put the icing on the cake. He said it was just epic. And he's like, jumping over this, jumping over this, and jumping over that, but jumping the fountain, that's never been done and stuff like that. And I'm just so proud of my team for the hard work and dedication because we did it. We did the impossible. You got to think. You had the town of Somerset. They owned this some of the square in the fountain. You had a county road, Pulaski County, and then you had this road that I landed on. So the county, the city, and the state all had to come together to get this approved and make it happen.
Right.
Sean, I was on the phone for countless hours with the insurance companies to get this all set up. I'm like, I got to build the car. I
Yeah.
got to build the car. I'm like, I got to get off the phone, but man, I never thought I'd be, in that situation where I'd have to be signing all these e-sign. You have to electronically sign
Yep.
everything, And then, I did a jump in Maryland. We did a big show in Maryland 3 weeks before the fountain jump. And there was always that thing having jumps too close together. What happens if I got hurt? Well, guess what? I got busted up. I had the brain surgery and stuff like that from the brain tumor, all that weight I gained. I'm like 205 pounds now. I was 340 pounds almost. My jump vest, Pat was like, dude, you better put on your jump vest. It may not fit. Well, it didn't fit.
Oh.
So we sent it out and we had it altered, which you're not allowed to alter them, but we were pressed for time and it was too tight. And I even told the guys, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm going to be held up by my rib cage instead of by my torso. Sure enough, when I landed, it separated my left ribs here. I can still feel it here. And so the doctor said it's going to be 3 months before you can do anything. I'm like, doc, I got to jump in 3 weeks, the biggest jump of my life. He's like, you can't do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to. So Pat and Tyler and everybody else, they didn't let me do anything. Oh, look, I dropped the screwdriver. Don't pick it up, Raymond. Just watch work, tell us what to do, and so they kept me from doing anything, which I healed up. I was still tender and being back in a jump vest where I was busted up here. It was really sore and stuff, but I was good enough to where I could hang from the jump vest and the bungee cords, and I was okay.
Wow. Well, let's jump into that Somerset jump video. We've got it right here, and we'll be right back.
I want to do it again. What would have Roscoe said? He would have been like, oh, that would have killed an ordinary man.
Oh man, just seeing that and not being there. We eastbound and down. We were in West Virginia when you jump the fountain. We were doing our show, and we had to take a break from doing photos and autographs with people, and we tuned in to watch live stream. So
awesome. That makes me feel good, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, right then, it was the thing of, oh, we got to stop for a minute. Raymond's going to jump here in just a moment, so give us just a minute, and we're going to watch this. And It was. It was so, I mean, to be there, the adrenaline, that the crowd had to feel, was amazing, But for us, just watching that again, it's like, wow, that fantastic. I mean, amazing.
42,000 people, nobody got hurt.
Yes.
And they said it couldn't be done.
Don't you love it? What's going on big for 2026? What
For
can you let us know?
2026, well, we did get booked by Winchester Speedway in Winchester, Indiana. So we're going to be doing our full stunt show, and our full stunt show consists of acting, chasing, explosions, fight scenes, and the stunts. Now, to intertwine all of that, like a live action Dukes of Hazzard episode, all together and get it right the first time, but we've done it over and over and over,
Oh yeah.
and it's a lot of work, but it is like watching a live version of the Dukes of Hazzard. Um, so again, we got a good 40 people on our crew that has to work together to make that happen. And then we have some other people who are wanting us to do the jumps and whatnot. We just haven't, you know, uh, signed yet, so I can't say anything just yet. But
I know how
we,
those
in
work.
reality, we can do 3 at the most. Um, it's just our stunt season is probably from April to October, more in the south toward the end of the year because of the weather.
Yep.
But uh, we have to build these cars. They're made to order,
Yep.
you know, and uh, you just never know that, like somebody can call you and say, "Hey, we want to do the jump. How soon can you get the car ready?" And I can't tell them yes or no until I call a meeting with the boys and say,
Yep.
"Boys, they want us to jump here. Do you want to do it?" Usually it's yes. And then we got 6 weeks to do it, to build the car. Who's in? And usually everybody, they want to do it.
Yeah. That's great. That's an awesome team, and that's what it takes is just the amazing teamwork. And it's not just a team, like you said, it's family, and family pulls together in the time of need. And man, that's great to have that.
Sean, I don't even watch the news anymore because of all of the ugly that's on the news. And the next morning when we woke up and they were like, "You were on CBS and Fox News and ABC News and CBS." I was like, "Really?" And I was just so proud that me and my guys, we were able to put something family orientated, something positive back in the national spotlight and gave people something good to watch on the news versus
Something
all the
positive.
ugly. Something positive, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, let's jump into the rapid fire portion of Breaker 19. This is just quick fun, and you don't have to explain anything. Are
All
you
right.
ready for this?
I guess I don't know what this is, so
Favorite TV or movie car besides the General Lee?
Bullet, the 68
Ooh,
Black Mustang.
there you go. Yeah, I was kind of leaning toward the Charger.
Did I say Mustang? Did I say Mustang?
I
Did I
thought.
I meant the 68 Charger. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
That's all right. There
I
was a
meant
Mustang
to
in it.
say I
For my
meant to say Charger. I don't know why I said Mustang. Somebody called me today and it says, "Hey, can you fix a Mustang?" That's probably why.
hair. Hardest stunt you've ever pulled off?
The hardest stunt we've ever pulled off was the fountain jump. Out of all 31 jumps, it was the fountain jump.
Wow. Dream car to jump.
Dream car to jump. Now that I've jumped the Bandit car and the General Lee, it'd be Kit from Knight Rider.
kit. There you go. Would we see that sometime in the future, in the next
Well,
few
we
years?
are in conjunction with Joe Huth and the Night Rider Historians, and yes, we are working on that.
There you go. That is so awesome. Scariest moment, takeoff or landing?
The old days when we were using the primitive chargers with their primitive steering, I was more scared of getting to the ramp in one piece because you have this much play,
Yes.
and you're trying to hit something this wide. Uh, yeah, yeah. So the earlier days it was getting to the ramp. Now that we're using the modern cars with the better steering, it's the landing.
Wow. So after a big jump, what's the go-to? Barbecue, pizza, or a big steak?
Um, I need a cold Mountain Dew right away. I don't drink Mountain Dew only after the jumps. Cold Mountain Dew. Uh, but for food, I'm a fan of all three. So any of those would do. It's hard to a big fat juicy steak, I guess.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. Raymond, where can the fans follow you at to stay up to date on everything Northeast Ohio Dukes?
Well, Matt just revamped our website, Northeast Ohio Dukes.net or Northeast Ohio Dukes.com. We are Northeast Ohio Dukes on TikTok, Northeast Ohio Dukes and Stunt Life on Instagram, and of course, Northeast Ohio Dukes on Facebook. We have two pages currently because after the fountain jump, we got hacked by hackers from India. They stole our page from us, and thank God we had a great gentleman who bought the page, realized it was stolen, and he returned the page back. So just
Wow.
we're trying to get them merged back together. Uh, but that would be Northeast Ohio Dukes on Facebook as well. There's two of them. Just get both pages alike.
Both pages, and then you're covered on everything. That is awesome. Raymond, I really appreciate you being with us. It's been one heck of a ride tonight.
Well,
This is just
Sean, let me say this. We got a great relationship with Keith and Summer Nights Cruise. So it is possible that we can see a Bandit fountain jump in the future. Are you going
that,
to be there?
yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, that is a beautiful area, and we've done the chase around the fountain in a couple years ago. So yeah, very, very cool.
Well, next time we may be jumping it. So
Love to see it. Love to be there and support you. So this is just very cool. Again, Raymond, thank you, and we will see you real soon.
thank you for having me, Sean.
All right, we'll be right back after this, folks.
Fire up the grill and bring the flavor home with Buford's All-American Barbecue Sauce. Loaded with all-American goodness, every bite will do you justice. Grab a bottle of Buford's All-American Barbecue Sauce at banditandbuford.com.
If you've never seen one of the jumps in person from Raymond and the entire Dukes stunt crew with the Northeast Ohio Dukes, be sure to follow their page and get out and see one of those spectacular stunt shows that they do, and you will not be disappointed one bit. I am Sean Bailey. This is Eastbound and Down's official podcast, Breaker 19, and we will talk to you again next week. Justin DeRosa will be joining us right here on this program.
That's all for now on Breaker 19 with Sean Bailey. More stories, more laughs, and more surprises are coming your way. Keep your seatbelt fastened. Breaker 19 is a Sean Bailey production.